Hey everyone, I'm Meg and you're watching Meg's Creations. Today I'm going to be doing a first impressions video on some new art supplies that I got quite a few weeks back. As some of you may know, I am currently in New Zealand, and one of my favourite shops here in New Zealand, I believe they also have this shop in Australia and they have recently branched over to the UK as well, is a shop called Typo. Now, the way that I would describe Typo is very on-trend, trendy, and just in with what is currently popular. It's a shop that just sells things such as stationery, they sell headphones, laptop covers, cushions, interior decorations, light bulbs, and just so much awesome stuff. And they recently opened up a massive store here in Wellington, and as soon as I saw that they were opening this store, I knew that I had to drag my sister out and we had to go and investigate. One thing amongst a whole bunch of other things that caught my eye was a little art section that they had in the back of the store. They sold things like watercolors, colour pencils, paper, sketching pencils, and a whole bunch of stuff. As soon as I saw that, I knew that I wanted to pick one thing out and I wanted to give it a try and do a video on it. The thing that I decided to pick out was a pack of watercolour pencils. But before we get into all the details of the pencils, here's how this video is going to be broken down. First, I'm going to show you guys the pencils, give you guys all the details about it. We're then going to go into 2 demos on me using the pencils for the first time. Then after that, I'm going to go through some pros and cons about the pencils. And then after that, we're going to do a Megs head review where I review the said art material in Meg heads. And that is going to be the video. So as I mentioned, I picked up the watercolor pencils from Typo, and this is what they look like. So the thing that really attracted me to these pencils, I'm not going to lie, is the packaging. It's got this really lovely wash watercolor background that goes from pink to blue, and a really cool design here where it gives you a little sneak peek of the colors that you can find inside. And then if you turn it on its side, you have this watercolor pencils design here, and it's kind of the same pattern up here and on the bottom as well. And then on the back you just have the details of the watercolor pencils. Then on the side, something that I really love is you have a little flap here, and you open that and it is got a little magnet inside, so it does open and close. Open that, and inside you have the watercolor pencils. So inside the pack of watercolor pencils you get 12 colors. You have white, yellow, a kind of peachy skin tone color, a light pink, a darker pink, I would say a deep red pink. You get a purple, a blue, a kind of turquoisey greeny blue kind of colour, a green, a brown, and a grey. First impressions on this, I love the packaging. I really like how everything looks. Again, packaging to me is something that instantly draws me to a product, so I appreciate the packaging on this. I do like the colour range, though I think that they could have maybe picked a few less pinks and added in like a dark green and a black, that kind of thing, maybe an orange. But overall, I really like how it looks. Now, for this pack of colour pencils, you were looking at $14.99, which is in New Zealand dollars. In US dollars, that is $12.99, and then in pounds, that is £7. So I'll let you guys know afterwards whether or not I think that the price is worth the product. We're gonna get into some colour swatches. I'm gonna show you guys what the colours look like without water, so just dry, and then I'm gonna show you what the colours look like with water. So with any kind of watercolor pencil, there are a few ways that you can use it. But I'm just going to put this out there and say I'm not a pro at watercolor and I'm not a pro at watercolor pencils. I hardly ever use them, so this was kind of a real test for me as well to see how well I could actually use them. But just from my knowledge, there are three main ways that you can really use watercolor pencils. You could obviously use them like a standard color pencil where you just use it dry so you don't add any water. You can do the second thing is where you color the pencil and then you add water on top of that to turn it into a watercolor. And then the third thing is you could either directly like dip the tip of the pencil into some water and use that. That will probably give you a really intense pigmented color. Or you could use your paintbrush and just paint on top of the little tip of the pencil and then paint onto the paper. So those are the three main ways that I know how to use watercolor pencils. But if any of you out there are watercolor professionals, or you just really know how to use watercolor pencils and want to give some other ways of using them, please feel free to leave those in the comments down below. So now we're going to get into the demo part of the video. I've prepared two different demos for you. The first is a watercolor painting of some watermelon, and then the second one is a watercolor painting of a unicorn. So sit back, I hope that you guys enjoy the demo, and I'll see you afterwards. Enjoyed those demos. I have to say that filming those two pieces of artwork, I really enjoyed them, especially the unicorn one, because I'd always wanted to try using tape and painting over it and then having the satisfaction of peeling the tape off and having those crisp white lines. I feel so good that I can finally say and see that I've done that. But we're gonna get on to the pros and the cons now. So first I'm gonna start with the cons. Now, one thing that I found, especially when I was doing the swatches, when I was even just using these colors to lay down a layer of the pencil before I added the paint, the lead is really crumbly and it breaks very easily, and it's also very bendy. Like, I had to sharpen each pencil at least 2 to 3 times because the tip of the pencil kept breaking or crumbling off, and that was a little bit annoying. With that in mind, you wouldn't, or I don't think that you'd be able to do a lot of detailed work. So I think if you're just doing like really basic washes, or you're doing like big areas where there's not a lot of concentrated detail, you don't want fine points of colour or anything like that, then I think these would be okay to use. But if you're into the finer details and things, I wouldn't suggest it. That was one of the main things that I really didn't like about these. Again, the second thing that I would say is just the colour variation in the pack. 12 watercolours, they have quite a few pinks in there. I would swap that out for an orange and a dark green and then a black as well, because you have the grey, but I feel like black is something that you need in a basic set. So that would be my second con. Yeah, I think those are my only two main gripes, is that the word? Gripes with this pack of pencils. But we're gonna go on to the pros now. So the main pro for me is the colour payoff and the pigmentation of these pencils. The yellow pencil is bright. It's so bright, and I love that, because sometimes yellow can be a bit wishy-washy and it can be a little bit like really light, but this one is vibrant and saturated, and I love that. And just in general, the colour payoff of most of these colours is really, really good, and the pigmentation is really good. They blended out really well. I could build on top of them really well. So if you guys saw in the watermelon piece, I laid down some colour, then went over with some water with my paintbrush, let that dry, then I went on top of it with another layer of colour, used some more water on that, let that dry, and went on with the third layer, and I didn't find that it kind of crumbled or it went patchy or anything like that. So they lay on top of each other really well, they dry really quickly, and the actual experience of painting with them was really enjoyable for me. Now we're on to the part of the video where I do a Meg head review, where basically I review the art supply in Meg heads, 5 out of 5 Meg heads being totally rad and awesome, whereas 0 out of 5 Meg heads would be something that I definitely would not recommend. For these watercolour pencils from Typo, I would give them a 3 out of 5. Now, I'm giving them a 3 out of 5 purely because of the crumbliness of the lead and the amount of times I had to sharpen them. But again, the pigmentation and the colour payoff and actually painting with these was a really, really enjoyable experience. And initially when I first started using them, I was like, I don't think these are worth the money. Like $15 for this, I'm not sure. But after using them, I definitely think they are worth the price. Again, £7 for a pack of 12 colours of watercolour pencils, I think is a really decent price. I would definitely be using these again. So that is the video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love it if you gave this video a big thumbs up. If any of you have used these watercolour pencils from Typo and have any thoughts and comments or feedback on them, I would love to hear those in the comments down below. If you have any suggestions for any other art supplies that you would like me to do a first impressions on, or if you would just like me to try out, I would also love to hear your feedback in the comments down below as well. And as always, guys, stay positive, stay creative, have an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye!